Ladies and gentlemen, you're about to see The Naked City. I'm Burt Leonard, the producer. This story was not photographed in a studio. Quite the contrary. The actors played out their roles in the streets and the buildings of New York itself. Life in the naked city is a parley of infinite chance. Every beat of a heart is a new turn of the cards, or the last draw. Every step between birth and death is the right step, or a last dark step. Yet there are people moved by emotions they have neither the knowledge nor the insight to understand. Playthings of forces sweeping them toward triumph or disaster. This is the story of two young men, one aged 25 with no recallable name. Even the Bureau of Criminal Intelligence lists him simply as John Doe, alias the Sneaker. 3 arrests for illegal entry, 2 for burglary, 1 for aggravated assault. Now you see him doing what he's bound by destiny to do.
And now the next question. An Article 78 proceeding was instituted to modify a determination of the Board of Trustees of the Police Pension Fund, which denied petitioner's request for retirement at 3/4 pay for a service-connected disability, and granted him 1/2 pay instead. And now the...
David Greco, age 23, stolid, slow-thinking, baffled by the simplest arithmetic. Perplexed by city ordinances, he struggled for months to commit to memory. David Greco, fired by one consuming ambition: to pass the civil service examination, which will qualify him for duty with the New York City Police Department. The Sneaker and David. Mostly this is their story, and a story of the law of infinite chance. For in the end, these two men were to meet, inevitably, frightfully.
She dug 'em real good, Dan, from the looks of her nails.
Ice pick?
Times, Dan, I think you know my job better than I do.
Well, I'll not trade with you, Larry. Husband ready to talk here?
Well, we can try, Dan.
Lieutenant, got a couple of footprints here, clean as a plaster sink.
I'd lift them, Ted. Well, Patrolman Greco gave us your statement, Mr. Roebling. How you came home early this morning from work, and that'll do for now, but we need something else right this minute. That's a complete list of everything stolen from the apartment. You think you might be able to help us with that? Go along with him, Jimmy.
This way, sir.
This is your neighborhood, Mike. What do you think?
Apparently she kept a cat. Cat hairs all over the place. We may get lucky and make a fiber match if you turn up a good suspect. Well, if you need us, just holler. Come on, fellas.
Lieutenant, you remember my boy David?
David?
Well, I thought maybe you saw him hanging around a precinct room. He's been taking a lot to hanging around the muster rooms here. I asked him not to, but he's a funny kind of kid.
Dad, those newspaper guys are out there.
All right, tell him I'll be out in a minute. What are they tagging this one, Frank?
The cat killer.
Oh, well, that's a little too close to the truth. You'll have to give our killer a false sense of security. Tell him we have information it's a revenge killing. Tell him we're questioning the family and neighbors.
Right, Dad.
I hate to bring it up, Lieutenant. I mean, at a time like this.
I'm sorry, Mike. Bring what up?
David,
What about David?
would you talk to him, Lieutenant?
Talk to him.
He's got this thing about being a cop, and lately it's been getting out of hand. His mother isn't well, and, well, she's counting on it, too.
You trying to tell me, Mike, that you're opposed to the boy coming on the force?
Yes, sir. I want something better for him. I want him to be a lawyer, a professional man. No offense, sir, but...
Well, Dan, not much. Of course, there's not much around here anybody could steal. A couple of trinkets, a ring, a watch, $8 she kept hidden in a old sugar jar.
All right, see, it's teletyped to all the precincts. We'll want all the pledge cards turned in this morning from every pawn shop in the city.
Right. What about her husband?
I'll have him come in later when he's able.
Right.
Of course, maybe he doesn't have it to be a lawyer. You know, he's a little slow at times. Not that he's not bright, sir. It's just, well, even Edison wasn't good in school.
What do you want me to tell him, Mike?
Well, Lieutenant, it's not going to sound good coming from me. 20 years I walked the beach, you know.
Tell me, Mike.
Well, tell him the bad things about being on a force. I tried to tell him, but he wouldn't listen to me. He only sees the good side. Honest, Lieutenant, he'd give 10 years of his life to wear a shield. Can you imagine that?
I'll be honest with you, Mike. You're asking me to do something not to my liking.
Please, Lieutenant.
Dan, those newspaper guys are really yelling.
All right, I'll be right out, Frank.
He's already taken the civil service exams twice. He got word this morning he failed again.
I see.
Like you know, a candidate can only take the test 3 times. See, 3 times, that's it, you're out. And his mother couldn't take it if he went to bat again for the last time and he couldn't make it. See, it's best if he walks away. Then I can explain to her that he changed his mind and we could point him in another direction, you know?
Dan, I asked Roebling to come back about 3.
All right, Mike.
You will?
I'll try.
Thanks, Lieutenant.
And you will fire a gun? Good. It'll be easier for you. No bad habits to break. Lesson number 1. You don't pull a trigger. You squeeze.
David? Your dad told me I'd find you here. I'm Lieutenant Muldoon.
Well, it's not loaded, Lieutenant.
Yeah.
My dad fixes it for me so I can come down to the range every now and then and watch them shoot.
I wonder if those rookies would be here if they knew what was really ahead.
They're the luckiest guys in the world.
Indeed? Why?
Why? Well, they stand for justice. They wear a shield of power and authority. And it says, stop when everything else in New York says go. But surely you know that, Lieutenant.
Well, a man can't spend a lifetime with criminals and stay tender and wide-eyed, lad. It dirties him, outside and in.
I don't see any dirt on you, Lieutenant. No, a cop keeps the peace. He protects the weak and the innocent.
Listen to me, son. Let me give you the hard facts. When you put on that uniform, you're a marked man. Marked by the supercritical eyes of the public. Marked by the guns of every hoodlum you chase into a corner. You work around the clock, half your life in darkness. And you sleep the other half, away from God's good sunshine. You're strictly a second-class citizen. You can't enter controversial subjects in public. Can't enter a political campaign. You can't even write a letter to the editor. Make one mistake, you're a headline. Why do you suppose those boys are busy getting calluses on their trigger fingers? Because they're married to Smith and Wesson now, David. They live with those guns for the next 20 years. Or die with them. And did you ever stop to consider this? $130 every 2 weeks, David. That's what you'll take home, after deductions for your pension and the precinct bed tax. There's no such thing as being off duty. Your neighbors expect you to go right on being a cop 24 hours a day. If a husband blacks the eye of his good wife, if a barking dog disturbs the quiet of the night, or a drunk comes staggering by, singing at the top of his voice, someone will come hollering for you and expect you to take care of the situation. Whether you be on the way to Mass or bouncing your own baby on your knee. That's the truth of being on the force, David.
Lieutenant, did you come out here to tell me this?
Yes.
Well, why?
Let's just put it, I'm a friend of your father's.
With my father's words. Lieutenant, you see the way they walk? You see the way they hold up their heads? Well, I'm gonna walk like that too. You'll see.
Now Halloran and Arcaro, along with officers and men of New York's 81 precincts, search for an unidentified man and an ice pick. This much is known. He will have a scratched face and cat hairs on his trousers.
Hey, Pasquale, vieni qui.
Qualcuno mi go right back. Dimple. Go right back.
Come un dono vecchio.
Ma lasciami andare che io so giocare alle bocce. Tu capisci tu che io so giocare alle bocce? E mia figlia giocare alle bocce. Lasciami andare.
Come on, yoga.
Ego, facultate mea, ab apostolica sed tributa, indulgentiam plenarium et remissionem omnium peccatorum tibi concedo. In nomine Patris, et Filii, et Spiritus Sancti. Amen.
Father.
Okay, Lieutenant. Anytime you're ready.
Mike, this is Dan.
Does it have to be so soon? 'Does it have to be now? someday. But not today. Please, God. Not today. Michael, don't die.
Patrolman Greco, Post 92, 2nd Avenue and 16th. Have sighted suspects entering basement of northwest corner apartment. Will apprehend.
Chilly, isn't it? Your father's still holding on, David.
Yes, I know.
Well, why don't you take a break? Pick up again tomorrow.
I can't. Tomorrow morning I take the civil service test. I guess you think I'm pretty silly walking Dad's beat.
I don't think that at all, David.
Do you think my dad is a good cop? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to ask you that. I guess I always wanted him to be prouder of what he was. But I have enough pride for both of us. When I get my shield, well, they're gonna say, there goes Greco, there goes a good cop.
Let me give you a tip. Your feet are cold, aren't they? Come on, tell the truth. All right. Take a dozen good deep breaths. Go ahead. Go ahead. Sends the blood toward the hands and feet, warms the artery. Feel it?
Well, this is wonderful. Yeah. It just warms you up in seconds.
All right. Now, notice when you walk with your toes out. Plant your foot forward, so it points directly the way you're walking. Keep your feet parallel. That way puts less pressure on the arch.
That's wonderful. I appreciate that, sir.
I brought you something. Your father's. Wear it inside your coat. What time's your test tomorrow?
It's 8 o'clock, sir.
I will come by and run you over. Why don't you start on home now, David? You'll need all your sleep. Your good mother's been calling for you.
I think I'll just check the beat once more and then I'll head home, sir.
Good night.
Good night, sir.
That's the guy. Car 92 to Central K. Car 92, address, Johnson's Trailer Park, 412 Magnus Avenue. Suspect sought in teletype 10643 is now running northwest.
How'd it go, Dave?
I think I'd know all the answers by now, wouldn't you?
Come on, come on. You'll be top man on the totem pole this time. I'll see you at the academy.
From childhood, David had listened to the call of sirens like others listen to marching bands. They made a sound that caused his heart to pound and chills to run his spine. Now, on this December afternoon in the naked city, it was more than the sound of sirens David heard. It was the call of destiny.
Well, I have warned you.
Jimmy, who was it told you he didn't pass?
Civil service examiner. He said David never even came close.
Well, Mike, the man who killed Mrs. Roebling, the same one who stabbed you, we have him. Your son apprehended him.
My son?
David caught him?
All on the same day he took his third civil service test. He passed with flying colors.
You see, Mike? You see? Oh.
He's all right. After all, he's all right, huh?
Yes, Mike.
You aren't going to tell them?
Not just yet, Jimmy. We've waited a long time for David to prove himself. We can't tell him just yet. how high the price was.
There are 8 million stories in the naked city. This has been one of them.